So we can expect from now to the next 24 months, a lot of things are going to happen in regard of VR. A lot of companies are entering the market, like Lenovo, Samsung, Sony's going to have a new device. So more and more companies are bringing devices on the market. This year is going to be a good progress. There's going to be a growth, maybe 30% in the numbers of devices, but I think next year is going to be the big shot. Mobiles will disappear out of our lives. It's a matter of time to make those devices more convenient, but at the end of the day, having two free hands using technology is always an advantage compared to having only one hand. We would like to work for the UAE Foodverse in cooperation with you especially, and to understand what you like about it, what you don't like about it, where you see more potential, what can be changed. So I'm here today to have an open discussion with that, just to show you we are building, just to know a little bit about us, we are building metaverse platforms for a couple of years. We've been building these for governments, for enterprises. We are building onboarding platforms for huge industries. And therefore, we're leveraging that technology to make information more convenient. And especially, most likely, you have been visiting the UAE Foodverse pre-version. So you have seen yourself how you memorize information. So I guess everyone is capable of right now at least memorizing 90% of the experience he had yesterday. And that's the key factor about this technology. And I don't know who has really touch points on VR, but this technology is evolving every day. And there's a lot of more coming in the future, also when it comes to live broadcasting of events, stuff like that. So you can expect a lot of technology coming towards us the next 24 months. So therefore, we really appreciate this cooperation. And Vahid, let's go on.
Yep. Thanks, Sam. So I will just ask a few questions on behalf of the team, and anybody who would like to ask a question can raise their arm and I'll spotlight you to ask the questions forward. So Sam, when do you think, the devices that are being used now to have the metaverse experience, that's primarily the Oculus and the thing, when are these going to be mainstream and what's the cost of it and how accessible is it? Is it going to be like the mobile?
Well, I mean, let's put different pictures on the table. First of all, there is a technology which is more important than the VR part itself, where content is rendered. That's the broadcasting of real events. So as we know, the World Champion Soccer, the championship from the FIFA 2026, we broadcasted in VR. So we can expect from now to the next 24 months, a lot of things are going to happen in regard of VR. A lot of companies are entering the market, like Lenovo, Samsung, Sony's going to have a new device. So more and more companies are bringing devices on the market. Currently, the market leader is, of course, Meta with the Oculus Quest 3 or 3S. But there's a lot of more coming. Apple has launched a product last year, so they're not so happy, but it's a pretty expensive product anyway. But they're coming with a second version as well. So more and more devices will flash into the market. And what I would say this year is going to be a good progress. There's going to be a growth, maybe 30% in the numbers of devices. But I think next year is going to be the big shot. Because, the thing beside entering 3D environments, beside consuming information, the most important part is that you can really enter in events and you can really participate on events, and you get all the feelings, the sound, the people surrounding you. So this is a totally different experience. And to answer your question, Vahid, I mean, I would say, honestly, by 5 to 8 years, wearable devices will replace mobiles.
What do you mean?
I think we're talking about it.
The mobiles will totally disappear. That's what you're saying in 8 years?
Yes, absolutely. You can be sure about one fact: mobiles will disappear out of our lives. It's a matter of time to make those devices more convenient, but at the end of the day, having two free hands using technology is always an advantage compared to having only one hand. And I think the era of mobile is going to find an end. Most likely, most of you, when you get like more old, have families, your kids will not be raised with mobiles anymore. Put a point on that. So it's more like about preparing ourselves for these kind of technologies, and therefore we have to collaborate with all different parties here. And just the one last word regarding Gen Z, I think the biggest challenge we have is that the current leadership on a global scale is actually kind of too old to really anticipate what's going on here. And as you know yourself, there's a lot of things ongoing like Gen Z, they're lazy, work-life balance, blah, blah, all these things. And I think there's a big misunderstanding regarding the relation between younger generations and our generation. It's like we have to learn how you consume information. Our job in the industry is really to prepare ourselves for the way you think, for the way you learn information, for the way how you consume information, the way you live your life. It's not the matter that you have to adjust yourself to our lifestyle. It's like we have to understand what's your lifestyle and we have to prepare. That's our legacy. We have to prepare the way we provide data to you. We have to learn how you can consume it in a convenient way. So don't get me wrong on that part. I see there's a lot of problems ongoing in the industry because they are blaming younger generations for their failure. And I see this completely different. I'm blaming us for our failures, not being prepared for you guys.
So, Sam, is something that they have been trying to tell you, but you're not listening. That's why. This is what some of the younger generation has been trying to tell their parents like you, and you've not been listening.
This is really a fact. It's a problem because I think this your generation is facing the fact that technology has evolved within your time period 3 times faster than the older generations. All the prior generations, they had enough time to understand technology, to consume the technology, to learn how to use it. Your generation has seen technology just like rolling too fast, growing too fast. So if you just turn back time and you think about what you have been doing when you were 6, 7, or 8, and now look at what you're doing today, you will not really recognize that the technology and the progress is pretty fast paced. So I do get the point. I see the challenge, but still, I think we have to work together. We have to understand each other. How and what can we do that you have an easier life? Because right now, if you look over the industry, it's a pity because most of the people think that it's not possible to work with Gen Z. And that's ridiculous because there is not another factory of humans out there which you can pick and say they're the better ones. You're the generations taking over the stuff we are building. So the more we collaborate in that part, the more we understand what you need, the better you can get a smooth transition to this.
So, to the entire team, now you see, here we are working with a technology where we believe it is the future centric. And this is why I said your final capstone is very critical. And I am looking forward, or we are looking forward on your view on what is the future in your perspective so that we can understand you better. Do you understand the relevance of your capstone at the end of the day? Now, Sam, you said a lot of information in a short period. I just want to break it down into pieces and try and deep dive into whatever you have said. You said that FIFA will be experienced on the Oculus. This means that normally a FIFA ticket would cost X amount, and what would be the cost of watching FIFA on the Oculus? And you're saying that the experience of being present at the stadium will be almost the same as when you watch it through the Oculus. Am I right in my understanding?
I'll get to this right away. I just want to add one more thing to the prior conversation we had. I'm just like empowering everyone in this call. If you don't help us to develop the proper technology, you're going to have a harder life. So we have to count on you. You have to support us. You have to help us to make the things right. And if you help us, you will have it an easier transition. So I'm just telling you that part. So we need you. Besides, now back to the FIFA. Yes. Well, it's not only the Oculus, it's going to be different devices. I think most of them will add there. And I'm not sure what in the case of the FIFA, what they will charge or not, because it's a matter of marketing. I would even assume they don't charge anything. They just tell you, like, buy the device and get the ticket for free. That's how I would do it. Yeah. But the feeling and the experience you have in there it's hard to explain. But let me tell you one thing. It's almost better than being there on your own.
Really?
Because the resolution is going to be 4K, even up to 8K later. The sound is going to be 3D sound, what we call spatial sound. So you'll be sitting somewhere totally independent, maybe at home, in the living room, and you will put the device on your head, and you're going to be sitting in the stadium, and you can participate, and you can sit there, and you can see all the people around you, and you can hear them. You can actually really feel their vibes. So this is going to be very convenient because, think about the hassle you have to go to a stadium. Just beside the fact that if your leading team, your favorite team is coming to the quarters, there will be no chance or opportunity for you to participate. It's just like watching on TV. And you can just like jump into games or jump into events, jump into concerts, just be there for a moment, take all the joy, all the happiness, and just leave it again. So I would guess this is going to be an experience most of us cannot even imagine yet. And I think once you really adopt that kind of technology, you'd most likely join every event on that way. You will start really to take a decision. Am I going to go there myself using all this traffic, time, money, whatever it is, or just wearing a device? And the devices right now, the Oculus Quest 3S costs about, I think, $250, $300. That's like the current price. But think about what a mobile price is. The price for a mobile is easy $800, $1,000. So it's far beyond the mobile already. And the entertainment factor there is massive. You have so many things you can do in there, beside gaming, beside participating, beside having the food wars. There's a lot of more you can experience there. Also, the sports part. There are a lot of sports app currently. You have boxing, Tai Chi. You can make there a lot of stuff in there anyway. And the
So in Tai
devices will
Chi,
get more
you are
key.
actually sitting on the sideline or you are part of the boxing itself?
It's very interesting. You have actually a simulated avatar, which
Okay.
is on your hands. So
Okay.
you follow just the movements of the simulated figure in front of you. And now, of course, and this is a very interesting thing, there's one point I'm going to launch a podcast 1st of February, which is running under the name Pioneer of the Metaverse. We are having an Instagram channel. Just follow us. It's going to be all about the metaverse. It's going to be how the metaverse is raising. Also, what's the metaverse good for? And we had different pillars in the metaverse. Besides the immersive technology, of course, cryptocurrency, blockchain technologies, all this stuff. But AI is going to be the most important part in that. It's going to make the metaverse feel real. And currently, AI is in a very good progress. So just wait for artificial intelligence to be like on a certain level. And then the whole metaverse experience is going to change massively. So, and regarding the podcast, just follow it. It's going to be very interesting because it's going to dive deep into the metaverse. It's going to have guests there. And it's going to actually solve it's going to answer the questions you might have.
So all the participants here, please put up your hand if you want to be spotlighted and join the conversations as I move forward. Okay. What is the technologies involved in creating the metaverse space? Is it like programming? Is it creative? What are the discipline? I'm surely this is going to be a new discipline where people want to work, a lot of effort is going to happen, a lot of value is going to be created. So what sort of jobs, training should happen, and what sort of technologies people should, and how should these young generation people prepare for being part of this futuristic world?
Yeah, okay, that's a good question. But for sure, it's not programming because, if I look at the progress of artificial intelligence, coding and programming will be overtaken by AI anyway. So I think it's more about psychological aspect behind that, yeah, how metaverse works. If you really look for different job niches, how this could work out for you, it's like, what's about regulation? What's the legal aspect of the metaverse? What's the psychological aspect in the metaverse? How communities are created? I mean, look more like from that angle. It's slightly more important. And the metaverse is going to create a lot of new jobs and it's going to transform existing jobs into the metaverse. So, I mean, currently there are already opportunities on the table. Nobody really pulls them. This is something we have to talk about as well. But I mean, when it comes to the metaverse, I think it's more like the side facts which counts because coding and programming is not going to be important in the future.
Okay, Sam, see, in reality, tell us practically what are the use cases that will happen immediately? Like how is it we're going to experience this? When is metaverse going to be a reality?
Well, metaverse is already a reality, especially in the US market. But I think well, it's a question. I mean, metaverse technologies are currently already used in several industries, especially when it comes to onboarding and training. So it's a fact, it's happening anyway. Because training in the metaverse is far more convenient and far more safe than training in real life. And beside the fact of memorizing information, there are many studies out there which actually prove that you can memorize 4 times better in the metaverse. And the second part is the attention you have in the metaverse. So think about everything I do in the metaverse is more efficient than things I do in real life because I don't use a mobile there. I have full attention. I'm totally focused. And the humans are actually used to consume information in 3D environments. That's how we are built. That's our biological system. The reading and writing, that's like a bridge to have like a more efficiency in the data transmission of just like to transform information faster. But in the reality, the most convenient way to consume information is being in a 3D environment and interact with things. That's why gamifying information is key here. And I think when it comes like what can you do in the metaverse today, the UAE Foodverse in combination with education is already key because you can really start to have sessions in there, to collaborate in there, teach people what's going on, and especially you can combine different generations independently where they're located. They can be anywhere in the world. And you can have run communications, you can collaborate with these people. And especially also older, think about elder people. Think about elder people who are not so flexible anymore, which actually are like more or less like in solitude, like be more isolated, and they can participate and join again in the community. So right now, I think the most important use case is more based in community and collaboration. And of course, the next is going to be e-commerce. This is like the next step, buying items in the metaverse.
Moza, can you join the
Yeah,
conversation?
of course.
Yep.
So you've told us a lot about positives that you see moving into a future where the metaverse is incorporated into our lives. What are some negatives that you see, and how can we counteract those negatives?
Well, what's negative? I mean, you see, this is like all information which are controlled by a certain source is always critical situation. In the metaverse, it's one step more higher. It's like more the environment which is created is under the control of someone. This is a very critical point. Even if let's say, the UAE Foodverse is under control of us. So we control the content, we control what you see in there. And that's like far more responsibility the creators have to take over here. Because beside watching on a 2D screen, being in a 3D environment can really influence any kind of feeling you have. And that's something also in combination with regulation. The regulators are still sleeping there. There's a lot of content out there as we speak, which is really bad and can harm the way, I mean, can really give you a bad experience and you can memorize bad stuff. I mean, just giving a bad example. You could have a 360 environment based on a horror experience, something super brutal. And your brain cannot differ if this is fake or not fake. So your brain will take this information, will store it somewhere in your brain, and you might dream about that stuff. And your brain might not be able to differ. Did I really experience this, or was that a movie or a story? So there's a lot of little things we have to be very careful, and we are missing regulations on that part. And we are always trying to push the governments to take more responsibility regarding regulation because the creator can really overtake the user. And that's the bad part about it. So now think about who's running the metaverse and who are the key players. It's always the same guys. It's Meta, it's Google, yeah. So think about they can control our environment
Do you
far more than
think
they do now.
do you think they're bad?
Are you asking me?
Yep.
I don't know. Is Instagram bad? Is TikTok
Nice
bad?
VR headset, sir.
Yeah,
Pardon?
this is the Oculus we are talking about. This is the Oculus we are talking about, and
That's
this
the
is the
Quest 3.
device
Oh,
that
nice.
yeah, and you will have devices like this. This is what's called Quest 3. If some of you have not seen it, this is available at less price than a mobile phone as of now. Am I right, Sam?
They
Yeah, well,
cost less.
Yeah, it costs
yeah,
less.
it costs $400. Yeah.
So you can give up your iPhone and switch to Meta
Nice.
Oculus, and you can have your computer, your mobile, your WhatsApp, your Teams, and even your games all on one device. And probably you don't have to go to school also.
What we really need in the metaverse is a bit similar to real life construction laws. I mean, I cannot build a house as I want. I need a permit. Some people have to check what I'm doing there. Statics is important. A lot of things are going to be checked by someone, by a regulator. In the metaverse, I can build whatever I want. And that's a bit critical because, your brain, once you take a VR device, once you have it on your head, your brain will take about 10 to 15 seconds and think this is real. Even your consciousness knows this is not real. In your brain, it will be seen as real. So you will act in this environment as if it's real. For example, if I get too close to an edge, and now let's say we have a 360 sphere and it's going like 1,000 meters down, you will not walk above it. You will look very carefully there. You're gonna like back up and you're gonna be super careful. Why? I mean, it's not real. You could just like walk over it, but your brain works like that. If I put a wall within the simulation, you will never run through the wall. You will run around the wall. You will even open doors. If I give you a door to be opened, you will open a door. But you can actually walk through the door, but you won't do that. This is how your brain works, because your brain has several sources, and because your brain has the risk, this could be real, and your brain cannot put you in jeopardy and say, yeah, run forward. Because next time it's not VR, next time it's real. So that's like the challenge. A lot of things happen with the brain there, and even And there's a very funny part. Whenever you have the opportunity to test VR, I tell you one very interesting point. If you meet an avatar in VR, he's not there, okay? He's not in your room. And he gets too close to you, you feel uncomfortable. And if he really gets like very close to you, you back up. You're like, hey, keep distance, man. Yeah. But by fact, this is not happening in real. This is an avatar, but this is how your brain works. You have to test that part. It's the most interesting experiment you can do in the metaverse is have two people in there and get close to each other. And then just feel what you really feel in there. And that's the amazing part. That gives you actually all you need to know about the metaverse. Meet someone, get close to him, touch his head. And in that moment, you will exactly understand what metaverse is about.
Sam, this is getting very spooky. Next question from Dima, please.
So there's been a lot of outrage, and I've seen this a lot, over AI taking over people's jobs. How do you think we can possibly adapt to that? Or how do you think we could fix that problem?
I didn't hear the first sentence. I'm sorry.
There's a lot of outrage over AI
Okay.
taking people's jobs and taking over them. So how do you think we can adapt to that? Or how do we fix it?
If I would have the solution, you can vote me as a president. But you see, I mean, technology comes up. Technology is always in criticized by it's going to replace jobs. It had been like this the couple of last 100 years. AI will replace jobs, but it will create new jobs as well. So I don't think I can give you like a solid answer on that. But the metaverse will create a lot of new jobs. Because metaverse is still even AI. AI is going to build the metaverse, but the order comes by humans. That's a very important part of the metaverse because humans always have to be involved in the process of metaverse technologies to make sure that the human feels comfortable in that space. So the metaverse will create new jobs. It has actually already new jobs. We have been creating metaverse jobs. We have been building experience for the Ministry of Culture in the UAE, and there are workshops, and people actually are in this environment talking to other people and providing information regarding artwork. That's already a job. But just to answer your question, I don't have the answer for that. I think we have just to be, let's say, we just have to be calm and see that the past has always replaced jobs and created new jobs. AI, by the way, does create new jobs. It might replace some jobs which are replaceable. That's a reality, but it will create new jobs, definitely. So I wouldn't have any fear on that. I would just like accept the progress of technology.
So Sam started the conversation by saying that he's going to change himself based on what you are going to want. So you don't have to get worried on that. So now, Haitham, over to you.
All right. So what I was thinking was, what would be the main currency in the metaverse? Would it be based off a blockchain like Bitcoin, Ethereum, or would you just use fiat money like USD and Swedish crowns, etc. in the metaverse?
Trump is going to answer that.
Okay. First of all, blockchain technology is not yet the foundation for metaverse, but it will be definitely to secure assets and to have more transparency and trust in there. When it comes to transaction of currency, yes, it will for sure be cryptocurrency, but I doubt this is going to be Bitcoin and stuff like that. I'm seeing just like central bank digital currency coming. Most of the governments are working on the CBDCs, and they're going to take place. And I mean, there's a lot of discussions around that, but that's the next logical step is that you will have digital currency running in the metaverse. And of course, there will be some other digital currencies remaining, some cryptocurrencies. But by the end of the day, yes, it's going to be blockchain based. It's going to be cryptocurrency. But there's a lot of things out there we have to think about. I mean, honestly, I'm not telling you that as my statement, just giving you like an opportunity, just a view what could happen. Realistic. It could happen that there's no more cryptocurrency in 10 years. It could happen that CBDCs are going to replace the entire payment system and the central banks are going to remove the cryptocurrency out of the market. Don't see current cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin as set forever. This is the biggest mistake you can do. Currently, it has its place. Currently, it does especially contributes to the education of the people to work in cryptocurrency, digital currencies. But by the end of the day, it could happen realistically that all these currencies disappear sooner or later and will be replaced by digital currencies by the governments themselves again. So The way is it's going to be on the blockchain to control each transaction. But if you're going to have Solana or Ethereum or whatever, Bitcoin left in 10 years, nobody knows that. Because these things could technically disappear immediately. Once you have CDBCs on the market, be careful. Because once the government control themselves, again, their own currencies on the blockchain, then they have a high motivation to get rid of all the little coins there. So currently, have fun with the meme coins. How long they will last, I don't know.
Oh, to Jana.
I have a question about like physical health. Like, if wouldn't be being dependent on VR technology, like it would take away like going out physically since you can do everything from home. Wouldn't that affect your physical health negatively?
This is an interesting point, but I think we have to look on a little bit on a global scale. More and more people are getting isolated on a global scale. That means, of course, let's say we live in the UAE here, we have a social life, we do go out, this is for us normal, but this is not what happens in the world in reality. A lot of people are already isolated, so they live their life in social media. If you look to social media, what component that is in the meanwhile in the society, that a lot of people actually, they value their entire life in social media. Don't take us as an example. We have a nice life, all of us. As we are in this call, we have a great life. We're living in a free country. We have free food. We can go out. We meet our friends. That's nice for us. But we are not the measurement here. So out there, people get more and more isolated. And using metaverse technology, you can actually break out of this isolation. Because, right now, people hang on social media. They hang on Instagram. They hang on, nobody hangs on Facebook. I know you're going to laugh now. Yeah, nobody hangs on Facebook. But yeah, on Instagram, whatever, this is Snapchat. And don't ask me, I'm too old for that. But by the end of the day, your personal value is super built on social media. I mean, you make posts, you like your likes, you make the sharings, and now reels have taken over completely social media. So social media has become more to an entertainment channel beside a value of who I am. I mean, people are posting less and less on pictures, and we're creating reels, and reels are actually the new kind of media. So Instagram and TikTok are media channels. But the metaverse can bring us back to the society because I think we have to understand one part. It's never going to be again like 50 years ago unless we lose technology completely by a nuke or whatever. But as long we have a progress in technology, the metaverse will bring people back together. Because, right now you might be too lazy to leave your house. Just imagine you have your 5 friends. You see like, oh my God, it's traffic out there. I don't want to see the guy. No, I'm not going to do that because like traffic, jam, whatever it is. But just take the device on. You meet your friends in a room, in an environment with more and more getting realistic avatars and join an event. That gives social engagement back. Doesn't take it away. And that gives especially people who are really isolated. Think about elder people. They are really isolated. Most of the elder people sitting at home and they have no more sense for their life. They're sitting there. They're happy if their relatives visit them once per week. But they can join again communities. So elder generations, or think about handicapped people. Think about people who are in a wheelchair. Think about people who cannot move anymore. People who would love to join life, would love to participate in society again, but they're like limited on their flexibility, and they all can get a life back. We had an experiment running last year. We were talking to many people who were like, let's say they had limitations because of some accidents. And we were building worlds for them, and they really enjoyed that. They stayed at home. They were wearing VR, and somehow in VR, you're free again. You can walk again. You can be flexible again. And you can meet other people, and you can exchange yourself, and you earn back a little bit of life. So don't always think about us. We are not the measurement here. Think about those people who have limited situations or people who are not so flexible as we are, or living in countries where they cannot just jump out and run. And the metaverse is going to bring back a lot of social engagement. So I see there pretty good things in there coming.
And in my opinion, I think the metaverse, like, it's going to affect your mental well-being more than your physical. So it can have benefits for your physical, but also, are there any concerns for people, let's say, no longer differentiating between the real world and the virtual world?
Honestly,
or addiction, let's say. Sorry, yeah,
honestly,
also addiction.
But we have this already. We do have this already. People are hanging the whole day. Look at the screen times. People are consuming the entire day social media, information on social media. They're really like disconnected from the real world. I mean, this is already happening. And beside this, and especially when it comes to education, let's pick the part education. Let me tell you something. Currently, we are, as a company, we're integrating AI bots within our environments. And if I would replace a teacher by an AI bot, which is perfectly prepared for you, the capabilities, how you learn information, it's always calm, and he has all the capacity to answer you all the questions. The way you learn is going to be 10 times higher efficient than the way you learn today. And AI can actually really improve our entire education, the way we live, the way we learn information, the way we get raised. AI can do a lot in that part. But you need the combination of the metaverse, because you would not sit there and watch to a bot the whole day. But if you're in an environment where the avatar is AI driven, and he takes care for you. You can ask him any question. He's going to have discussions with you. He's going to teach you everything. He can exactly see you the capacity how you consume information. He can like improve several things. If you need more video content, more information, he can like get used to you like your best friend, and that can improve our society a lot. Really a lot. This can change the entire game for all of us. Just imagine you're not the victim anymore of a teacher who has a bad mood today, or who doesn't like you, or who isn't racist, or whatever he is, yeah? Or he just like doesn't like your nose and he treats you different from the other person. It's like human mistakes. This is human. Humans are humans. None of us is perfect. But imagine that this body is an AI body who's perfectly trained just for you. And he can answer you any questions. You can just walk in discussions. I mean, I give you a sample. What I do still today, if I remember something I really didn't understand in school, I just ask ChatGPT. I tell him, explain me that. Explain me this in physics. Like I'm an idiot. As if I'm an idiot, explain me that. And he does it. And you know what? I get it now. I can learn more from an AI bot today as from a human. We are there, we are already there, you know. This is today. And think about what's coming next, how this can actually contribute. And you're going to feel more. You're going to feel more convenient if you wear a VR device. You're in a single room with an iPod, which looks nice guy, whatever it is, yeah, nice person, which is maybe even built for your the visuals, that you really accept the person better. And he's going to start talking to you. And you'll be sitting with your VR device and having a beautiful conversation. And while he explains you the stuff, he can put videos and pictures. He can even take you to a little journey and give you like a 360 experience, how this was in the past or something in the history. You'd love to learn, because learning will be then really like more entertainment than a struggle.
Hi, so I just wanted to follow on like with Talai's question as well, because I was also thinking, if the metaverse and VR become such a real part of our lives and it's becoming a daily thing, don't you feel some people might have, let's say, some issues with identity? Because let's say someone is disabled or elderly, don't you feel like them utilizing VR is rather them trying to deny their identity than trying to fix it? They're just going to be trying to escape reality, and that will harm them later on. So what do you think?
You know, I don't see that the metaverse is going to accelerate that problem. You know how many gamers we have today in the world? I think we almost like 1.9 billion people are gamers. What does that happen? What does that mean? If I play a game, this is kind of an escape I'm really doing. If I hang the whole day on social media, I'm escaping already. That means to escape sometimes from his natural life or from his being is a very natural thing for humans. And the metaverse is going to make it maybe more convenient, even more efficient, the way we escape. All of us, we want to escape. And regarding the identity, there is nothing new about that. People have been doing this for quite a while. And it's just like, let's say, the game is the same, just change the color of it. Yeah? But identity problems, yeah, you have them today as well. I mean, how many people run fake accounts? How many people are hanging out in social media with 3 accounts and acting with somebody else using wrong pictures? Why is Facebook investing so much money in identifying people in their social media? How many times people start to have several identities? I don't know why, just like acting, even communicating with other people, playing they're somebody else. This is real. If you need that, there's nothing the metaverse will do again. If you're like from your psychological situation, a person who runs 3 different identities, we can't stop you. Neither yesterday nor today, or not even tomorrow. So it's more about like how the most important thing, what I see is, this comes back to regulation, we have to make sure that there is a kind of Identification that I know that's you in the metaverse, because the metaverse has much more influence than a social media account or whatever, because it's a person talking to you. So first of all, this is now when it comes to regulation. There's the biggest mistake for regulators, again, they always sleep for 10 years. I would force the industry that you have to identify yourself as AI today. So if I communicate an artificial intelligence currently, which happens on phones already, it happens on email conversations, I would ask for identification. I want to know that, because it's fair enough that if I start to communicate writing emails to an AI bot, I want to know that, because I'm a human and the AI bot perfectly matches what I want. And I'm going to start communicate with it. I feel convenient. I feel understood finally. Yeah. But actually, I'm making fun of myself. I'm talking to a machine. So, and there we start. We need like regulations would make sure if I meet you in the metaverse, I want to know you're Ahmed. I want to know you're Turan. I want to know that's you. And if you're a bot, fair enough, I want to know that you're a bot.
Okay, so my question is, what role do you think that the metaverse will play in the food industry in the coming years, or not only in the food industry, in all the industries that they are not the technology one?
Put it that way. I mean, let's talk about food awareness. Just like a question. Most of you, tell me if I'm right or wrong. You're taking care for the food you're consuming? Just like raise your hand. Are you really thinking about what you eat? Raise your hand if you do that. Okay. Okay. Have you found, I mean, have you noticed that if you look on social media that actually there's always one guy telling you can't eat that? Actually, if you look over, you cannot eat anything anymore, because that guy says you can't eat eggs. The next guy says if you eat eggs, you're gonna die. You cannot eat meat. You cannot eat this. Yeah, I cannot combine this. So it's pretty wild out there. So, but still, you still consume food. I want to tell you a little story about how our brain works. There's a very you can see that in somewhere in the social media from Jamie Oliver, the famous cook. Yeah, he has that situation with the chicken McNuggets. I don't know if you have heard that before. So he has some kids there. He has like 3, 4 kids in front of him. And he's showing them how chicken McNuggets produce. So he's taking like the worst from the chicken, the skin and the fat. And then he's putting this like in a cup, and he's putting all these ingredients and powders and chemicals and whatever. And they're like all disgusted. They go like, oh, I'm not gonna eat that. That's disgusting. All these kids, like 5, 6 kids, are like, oh, disgusting. Then he's gonna mix that, yeah. And he's gonna make little chickens out of that, and then he's gonna fry it. And then he puts it on the table, totally convinced none of them will eat that. But the moment they looked like chicken McNuggets, they all took it. So even though they were super shocked from the way it was done and super disgusted, once the product was done, they took it. Why is that? Because that's how your brain works. I mean, when it comes to the moment when it's familiar to you, you will consume it. So a food wars, and this is what's my opinion is, like, let's say, especially in the food business, it's more important. It's not important that you buy a milk in the metaverse. It's not important that you buy pasta in the metaverse. It's more important that you understand what you buy in the future. Because once you take the decision that that El Ain milk is the milk I want, you're going to keep on buying it every day. That's a bit different perspective of food. So if I can give you a brief look, a journey into the El Ain farms, how it's produced, where the milk comes from, how they run the company, and all that stuff, you can take a decision. You can take a decision and say, okay, El Ain, that's the company I feel happy with. I decide that product, and I'm going to buy the product because I've built a relation to the product. It helps you for the future to have a straight decision on your milk, and you have the right to understand what milk is. And on the other side, if you understand that other producers are doing lower qualities, you push the industry to be better and produce better products for you as a consumer. So that's why the metaverse, because you will not sit down and read a website about El Ain 5 hours and understand how they did it. But if this is like a nice 3D journey, a nice experience, where you walk in there and it's like you're going to be entertained for 25 minutes. And after the 25 minutes, you have learned a lot. And now your knowledge, what you take out of the experience, gives you the freedom to take better decisions and not be so just like overwhelmed from informations out there. You can start to take your own decisions based on information you have been gathered somehow. But to give you the opportunity to take right decisions, we need to prepare the data in a way that you're willing to consume them. Because if I tell you read that book about milk, you will never read it. But if I give you a nice, happy journey, a nice experience where you like interact even with animations, whatever, you think, well, that's cool, yeah? You have the chance to learn more about the product, and this gives you the freedom in the future to make better decisions. And then you will educate your kids differently. So that technology can just change a lot of perspectives and give you the right to understand more about what you consume. And this concerns all industries, because I think that's fair enough for us. We're the consumers. I mean, all the industries are based on us, based on you and you and then you. You consume, they produce, you consume, they produce more. So we're the consumers. We are not those idiots happy to be fed. Change your perspective. We're the ones actually are ruling the industry. We're the consumers. So we have the right to understand our products better. If we understand the products better, we can make better decisions. We will be less influenced by some funny guys in the internet who are telling us you cannot eat eggs. Because we have to be more mature as a human. It's our right to understand what's good for us, what's bad for us. The industry shall please provide us the information, so we have the right and we have the freedom to understand better what we are consuming. And this should actually lead to a better food supply.
My question is, how would it affect like the environment because of all the production and the electricity being used?
Oh, well, electricity shouldn't be a problem. VR devices are really low, really low. So I don't even know how much VAT they have, but it's not a lot. I mean, the battery, even this small. You see, the funny part about VR device, I'll tell you something about VR devices. Well, I got mine here as well. Right? You're not the only one. Oh, you can even see it in the camera. Okay. That's blinking here.
No,
No,
you have to change your backdrop.
the processing power on a VR device is as big as your fingernail. It's a Qualcomm Dragon XR processor. It's super small, really small. The biggest weight on the VR device is more or less the batteries and especially the lenses. But let me tell you something. This is the next progress, the next evolution of VR is currently that the entire content is rendered and calculated on the device, on the spot. That gives a lot of limitations regarding resolutions, size of the environments, and all this stuff. The next progress, the next evolution is that the content is rendered in the cloud. But that means we need bandwidth, a lot of bandwidth, because the data is going to be massive. Expect this to be happen in a couple of 3 to 5 years. Once we get to this point, we are in the movie Ready Player One. Because then the content can be rendered high resolution, unlimited spaces with all the features in the cloud, and all you get on your device is just the data. That will allow us to make the devices half the size. Like, for example, the one from Ray-Ban, which is from Meta, those AR devices. They are like the pre-stage of that. But expect, I mean, I think your concern is we're not going to have those bulky devices in 10 years. In 10 years, technology will be totally changed. It's going to be talk about illuminated light streams or light beams directly in your iris. Technology will change a lot. But I mean, we're getting there, and it's already there. It makes fun. You have to remove all the light out there, but I mean, you have to try joining events. It's amazing. If you've never done that, that's an experience. It's outstanding, and it gives you freedom. And now next step is like live broadcasting data feed. I mean, just imagine you have a 360 camera based on the Burj Khalifa. You can just anyone in the world can put a device on, and it feels like he's on top of the Khalifa. He's going to look around. These are experiences which allow you to learn far more about the world, be more flexible in travel, and yeah.
Yeah. So you said the next step in VR will be to do cloud rendering. What's preventing us from doing this right now? What are the limitations?
Bandwidth, speed. Data speed. I mean, cloud rendering is not an issue at all. Many companies, I mean, there's like, for example, there are like companies like Hologate, they're doing that like on the spot. So you have high capacity servers, they render the data and they transmit it through Wi-Fi, but you need a good bandwidth. So until we don't have a stable bandwidth, we cannot do that. Because, imagine, I mean, the technology is very simple. If I render the data in the cloud and I just send you the final result, I need to anticipate your movements. So it's not that it's a to-do like a 4K movie that I just sent you a static movie. It's like the data has to anticipate the next movements you could technically do. So the bulk of data is going to your device is going to be massive, and you will need easily stable 50 Mbit, minimum stable. And of course, maybe Starlink provides us a better data in the future. But once we reach a stable bandwidth, then we are there. Then it's going to be it's like an explosion. We're going to come to the next level, far beyond what we could even imagine. And the problem is, once you are there, and this will happen in the next years, you cannot differ VR from reality. This is the point you have to expect. And this is something you have to be prepared for, because the environments in VR could be even more realistic than real life, because it's more bright, better colors, better setup.
Thanks, Sam. So now, Sam, do you have any questions for our team here? One of the things that I tried to explain to them when we started the internship project was, and I think now after this conversation with Sam, you would understand the importance of the capstone query that I'd made. What is your view on what are the possibilities of the future? And now that Sam has explicitly made a statement that he believes that the future, we need to be more prepared, we need to understand the future generations as we develop and evolve. Your inputs are key. So Sam, I've already given this assignment, and all these inputs will be coming to you, okay, all to our project. So is there any specific guidelines you want to give them on how they should be thinking while preparing this this future of commerce? And it's not about a metaverse alone. It's about the coexistence of the existing ecosystem, the transformation of behavior, transformation of changes that's happened in our lives. How should they think about all these things when they write this short paper based on their experience in these few days?
Oh, that's a good question. Let me, first of all, I'll be super interested in what you have experienced in the metaverse. Beside that, and this is something more like a key concern, is what is it what you expect from the industry, how they should treat you and how they should onboard you? Where do you see the challenges and what does make you unhappy? And what's your perspective, or how does a job in the future should look like? Could you imagine to run a job in the metaverse? Is that something you could take in consideration? But we need to understand what you expect from us, not the other way around, not what we expect from you. What do you expect actually from your employer? What do you expect? And let us know, let me understand, what do you expect that you feel convenient and happy and really challenged in your job? What do you expect? Do you expect innovation from your next employer? Is that something you would count on? If you have 3 jobs on the table, 3 job offers, how important is for you the factor innovation of that guy? Is that important for you? For example, if you would know that, for example, let's say we have a job offer from Wahid and from 2 other guys in a similar industry, but you would see that Wahid is approaching the metaverse, trying to make things better. Does that influence your decision? Would you say a company with more pushing in innovation is for you more likely important? Is that important? Or is it more like just the brand? I'm convinced that this is a very important factor for your decisions in the future. To see, does that company is stuck in their old years? Are they running their old-fashioned things and they're not willing to invest money in innovation? They're not willing to change the way they think. They're not willing to recreate their thinking. They're not willing to provide you a convenient onboarding situation. That's what I'm interested to understand, that, because I'm very hard convinced that this is a very important factor for you, because I think you don't want to be put back in a box. You want actually that your life is more or less similar to the way you were raised. So you want to keep the track. You don't want to be completely reconfigured by an old-fashioned company. I think you're expecting from your employer that he's prepared for you. That's what I think. And this is what we are trying to push the industry to tell them, listen, you got to prepare yourselves better. I'm interested in these things. If I'm right or wrong, because if you tell me I'm wrong, well, I'd be driven. I'd wash cars tomorrow. Stop doing my metaverse things, yeah.